Hey everybody, and welcome to SED 511-711. Note that this course is both an undergraduate and graduate class, so depending on which class or which section you enrolled in, you are either in SED 511 or SED 711, but all the course content will be in this module in Blackboard. For some of you, this class is completely online. Others of you have registered for several on-campus classes. Those classes are some supplemental and additional information to help you understand the content. If you would like to attend one of the on-campus classes and you registered for the online section, you are welcome to join us. You can find that information in EKU Direct. So I'm going to walk you through some of the basics of the course shell and get you familiar with where content is located. So for those of you that have not already had me in class, please check out the information under Meet the Instructor, and you'll see a picture of my family. I actually posted this before kids' birthdays. So I've got 4 fantastic children. My oldest 2 are Catherine and Daniel. Catherine is a student at UC, majoring in urban planning. Dan just turned 18 and is a junior at Highlands High School. Elizabeth is now in 3rd grade, and Miss Lily is still in preschool. Of my children, I have 3 of the 4 that were able to access early childhood services, several of them through the First Steps program for children birth to age 3. And Daniel was also provided services through a public preschool where he had an IEP and received all of his services. So I've had personal experience with IFSPs and IEPs in working through the system, as well as being an instructor. My certifications are in LBD and MSD, which are mild to moderate and moderate to severe disabilities, and I spent most of my teaching experience in elementary school supporting kindergarten through 5th grade students in both self-contained classrooms for students with emotional behavioral disabilities, as well as resource and inclusive settings for students with mild to moderate disabilities. In addition to those teaching experiences, I've got my early childhood certification and my director of special ed certification, and I'm happy to share any of my experiences, whether that's personal or teaching. So the experience I'll talk the most about with you is about my son Dan. So Dan now just turned 18, and we've started the guardianship process in the state of Kentucky because Dan has a diagnosis of autism and epilepsy. He also receives services under the category of functional mental disability in Kentucky, which falls under the IDEA category for intellectual disabilities. Because of his status as having an intellectual disability and because he is nonverbal, he requires supports for all of his activities of daily living, as well as all of the services provided by school. So we've been the beneficiary of occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, as well as ABA or applied behavior analysis. Dan has had some phenomenal teachers that provided him with great instruction and helped him make great gains on his IEP goals. He's also had instruction by teachers that I would consider to be loving and wonderful people who did not have enough training to support him in the way that he needed and deserved. So one of the reasons I became a faculty member was to make sure that all children, and children like my son and children like the children in your lives, have highly qualified teachers who are empowered and educated and able to teach them and provide all of the instruction that they need. So as we work through the content of SED 511, 711, where we're focusing on family and school partnerships, I'll be sharing a lot of my personal experience, my family's experiences, as a backdrop to help us all understand and kind of have that personal connection. I also look forward to hearing your experiences as we move through the class. If you've got any questions, don't ever hesitate to ask. Questions that would benefit everyone, questions about course content, where to find things, those should all be asked in this Questions Ask Here board. And what I'd like for you all to do is click on the questions board And when you enter, there's a button right here where it says subscribe. And then once you've subscribed, all the questions will appear in your email. As you can see, I've already subscribed. And Teresa has already asked a fantastic question about the rubrics that I've answered. So her question was that the syllabus talks about self-completing rubrics for all assignments, and she wanted to know, does this include discussion boards? And that is a fantastic question. It actually does not include discussion boards or for the advanced organizer. It does include any major assignment, and in this class, the major assignment is actually, we don't have a specific major assignment in SED 511. You're going to be doing a module on IEPs, but that's part of those advanced organizers, and doing some discussions as well as a course overview. So you don't actually need to complete any of the self-scoring guides for your work in SED 511. SED 711 actually has a research-based practice, or what we call an RBP, instructional resource. It does have a rubric that you will need to self-score. The rest of the work in the course for you also does not require that self-scoring rubric. So the only thing you have to self-score is the research-based practice, and the line in the syllabus is one that I use in all syllabi, so I apologize for the confusion that caused. But as you can see, if you ask questions here, I'm happy to answer them, and that way everybody has the benefit of the answer. If you run into a question, check and see if it's already been asked in the questions board, and if not, please go ahead and post it there. If you have specific questions about your grades, please send those to me by email or stop by during office hours, and I'm happy to answer those. You'll note that under course documents, you have both the syllabi, which we just checked. Make sure that you're opening up the one for the specific course that you've registered for, whether it's 511 for undergraduates or graduate classes or 711. There's a calendar at a glance, and you should use this every week to make sure you're submitting assignments on time. It's set up by week and notes that except for the final module, everything is due on the Sunday at the end of the module. So for week 1, all the assignments will be due finally by 3/26. Having said that, please note that all of the discussion boards, your initial posts must be completed by Thursday at midnight, and that's so that everyone has a fair opportunity to read and respond, since responses to peers are required. The discussion board is our opportunity to have that discussion between colleagues on that professional discourse. So please make sure that your discussion board posts are both professional and rich in information that would be something you would share with a colleague who is also supporting students with disabilities. You'll note that each module has its own theme and course materials. You will be using the course textbook as well as reading several articles. I'll also be sharing in the Advanced Organizers different websites that you should be viewing and other resources, videos and things that I think are beneficial to help us understand how we can best support families as we work through the school system. Every module has its own folder, and in that module are the resources that you need. So I'll just peek in module 1. All the modules are set up the same way. They're all already open so that you can access all of the content. The module lectures were actually created by Dr. Sonia Michaels, who created the original shell for this course, and so you will hear her voice sharing information with you in all of the module lectures. The course overview quiz can be found here. There's a link to the discussion board as well as the advanced organizer to submit your assignments. So there's not a separate place to go. You find all of your work within the module. To complete an advanced organizer, these are all Word documents, and when you open them up, you'll notice that on the left-hand side, there is, an announcement I'm getting ready to send you. There are prompts that walk you through the textbook, and then on the right-hand side is where you type your answer. I'm expecting your answers to be summarized. They don't have to be complete sentences. Oops. And they don't have to have APA citations unless you use a different resource. If you're using something that I didn't share with you, that you found somewhere else, then you absolutely should include an APA resource so that I can substantiate that that information is valid. But you'll read the prompts on the left and then respond on the right. This does have to be summarized. Remember the rules of plagiarism. We don't copy and paste from any other sources, but rather we restate information in our own words. You'll notice that it'll tell you in the sections that go all the way across, like the questions that are here all pertain to Chapter 5. These questions pertain to Chapter 6. And then in some of the advanced organizers, there will be links to other websites or other resources that I'm sharing with you. Once you have filled this in completely, you will save it and then go back into Blackboard and submit your work. And once you've completed all the work in the module, then you are good to go for that module. If you have things that are coming up, and I know we all have busy schedules, you're welcome to work ahead to complete work for modules in advance. You'll just always have to go back later in the week and make sure you're responding to those discussion boards if peers haven't already posted. Alrighty, I think this walks us through the main information that you need to know. If you have any questions about the work in this course, again, please don't hesitate to check with me. I'm always happy to help. I look forward to learning with you this term and hearing your input and your thoughts as you move forward in planning for your future career.